So today's presentation is going to be predominantly around the cloud and a specific area of the cloud, which is managed application hosting. So the agenda for the presentation. So first of all, I'll just give you a bit of an introduction to Access Alto, explain how Access Alto fits into the wider Access group, a bit of information in regards to some of the accreditations and partners that we work with, give you an understanding of our data center footprint for the whole of the Alto division. Then we'll get into the real meat of the presentation today and what the main focus is around, which is the managed application hosting service that we provide. So we'll go through what that is, who uses it. So I'll give you an example of some of the clients that use this service from ourselves, why those businesses and other businesses use managed application hosting, some specific information in regards to the data centers that are used within this service, the security that is incorporated within the platform, what we do for backup and disaster recovery of the platform, and finally, some of the benefits of this solution from our expertise and our experience with our clients that are using this. So first of all, who are Access Alto? So Access Alto was formed in 2010, and our main driver and vision as an organization was to provide reliable, flexible, and cost-effective cloud platforms for businesses. We were acquired by the Access Group in December 2014 with a specific remit to provide our hosted services, of which there is a wide range of, from application hosting to public and private cloud, backup as a service, disaster recovery as a service, solutions to over 20,000 UK customers of the Access Group. As a division and as an organisation, we're very much around the technology. So we are very driven to find solutions to help organisations deliver their key business outcomes. We partner with the largest global players in the cloud services industry. So we partner with organisations like VMware, NetApp, Cisco, Microsoft. And we've won many awards, one of which was Veeam Cloud Provider of the Year. So how does Access Alto fit into the wider Access Group? So the Access Group has been split into kind of industry-focused verticals. So we have specific software solutions that are specific for these industry sectors. So things like manufacturing, distribution, not-for-profit, recruiting, education. So we have software solutions that are specifically designed for those industry sectors. What we also have is some horizontal products that we feel will fit across all of those verticals and all organizations wide that. So we have financial management systems, so looking after all of your accounting requirements and functionality that you need around managing your accounts, and also human capital management, so looking after all of your HR, talent management, payroll, things like that. And these are the solutions that, like I say, we see that all organizations have some requirement for these things. That's why they are horizontally across all of our verticals. Underpinning that, we have a wide portfolio of cloud platform products and tools. So things like Workspace, which I'm sure you'll have started to see more and more of, Data Hub, things like that, where these are all software as a service, web browser enabled applications. And underpinning all of that is the Access Alto division. So we underpin all of the above. So we underpin all of the software solutions across all of our verticals. All of our horizontal products are all hostable and looked after by Alto, and all of our SaaS products are all on the Alto platform. So we provide full managed service infrastructure, managed application hosting, infrastructure as a service offerings, and other services across the whole Access client base. Just to give you a bit of an understanding of some of the accreditations that we hold and some of the partners that we work with. So we are fully ISO 27001 accredited. We have full PCI DSS compliant across our data center operations. As I briefly touched on before, we were partnered very heavily with Veeam. We was one of their cloud providers of the year. We're a gold partner with Microsoft, a platinum enterprise service partner with VMware, and we're also a Cisco partner. So this visual gives you an understanding of what our data center footprint looks like across the Alto division and across all of our services. So as you can see, we have 2 sites in the USA. We have 3 sites in the UK, 1 site in Singapore, 1 site in Sydney in Australia, and we've recently expanded that platform and those data centers to include a data center in Toronto in Canada and also 1 in Dublin in Ireland. So now really I was keen to get into the kind of main focus of the presentation today, which is around managed application hosting. So first of all, what is managed application hosting? What this is a service that Access provide to all of our software clients, where we would take your databases and have those on our infrastructure and then fully manage those databases and the software on that infrastructure for yourselves. So you would then just be able to get on with using the software as a user and not having to worry about the infrastructure and making sure things are backed up and that your security threats are minimized and looking after all of that. So some of the things that we include as standard within this service is, where applicable, you would be upgraded to the latest version of your Access software solution. So whether that be Dimensions, Select HR, Select Payroll, or any other of our applications. We include all of your Microsoft licensing costs. So costs such as your SQL Enterprise licensing, all of your CALs for accessing the platform and things like that. We also include VMware licensing within that as well. So there's no additional costs for any of the licensing. We provide and supply and manage all of your fixes, patches and updates on the infrastructure. So we fully have a managed process around that, where we make sure all of that is kept up to date and managed consistently. The platform itself is managed and monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We provide a full data backup and disaster recovery on the platform. And I'll go into a bit more detail later on in the presentation of how we do that and what's included within that. And the system is designed and implemented by Access, who are the IPR owners of the software. So this slide just gives you a little snippet, an overview of some of the clients that use this service from the Access group. To give you an understanding, we have well over 600 software clients using our managed application hosting service, and that actually equates to well over 25,000 databases that we're managing on a daily basis. So from conversations we've had with our clients who have moved to the hosted platform, we've found a few quite interesting reasons for why businesses wanted to look into this as an option and why they use this service. So first of all, they wanted to have a system that can offer increased security and support and availability to a business critical system. They're wanting their Access application to be fully managed, monitored and looked after by the people that know the software. Nobody out there knows the Access software better than ourselves, of which then nobody knows better how to host that and manage that application in a cloud environment. Next, which is becoming more and more important to an organization, is to have a robust business continuity plan for their business critical systems. So for example, to have all of their backups taken off site. They also want to have a risk-free migration process to a new service. organizations are wanting to future-proof themselves for the next 3 and 5 years. So always wanting to make sure that they're always on the latest and most up-to-date IT infrastructure, and having a known fixed cost for the next 3 to 5 years for their critical access application, and knowing what that's going to cost for the next 3 or 5 years and what that's going to look like. And finally, there's an ever increasing push towards a mobile workforce. More and more people are wanting to be able to work while on the move and working from different sites. And that's why organizations have looked at moving to this type of solution, because it aids them in being able to deploy that for their staff. So just to give you a little bit more information in regards to the data centers that we use for this service that we provide. So all of these data centers are based within the UK. So your data will never leave the UK. All of the data centers and all of the platforms within those have been specifically optimized for cloud computing. And not only has it been optimized for that, they've also been optimized for running of the Access applications. So to give you a bit of an understanding on that, we've done quite a lot of research and analysis with clients who are on the cloud platform. And what we did is we went through a series of tests with those prior to moving to the platform, where we got them to run some tasks within the software on their local environment, and then got them to rerun those tests once they went live on the hosted platform. And across the board, what we found is clients experienced up to a 30% increase in performance within the applications. The reason for that is the underlying infrastructure that those sit on is all enterprise class, all best of breed, and also been optimized by Access to run in our applications. The data centers are our major internet backbones for the UK. So our primary data center, which is Telehouse North 2, that is the most connected data center in Europe. We're completely carrier neutral, so those data centers have well in excess of 500 different internet providers coming into those. So we don't have any preference or favoritism towards any individual internet provider. So we don't put one above the other. All of those are equal to us, and we use those all equally. All of the data centers are tier 3 facilities. We have N+1 or greater redundancy at all levels. So what that means is all of the components within the data center, we have a minimum of 1 spare ready to be used in the event of a failure within the data center. Each one of the server racks has A and B power feeds that are redundant. So if we was to lose the main power source, we have a backup for that. And also the data center then has other solutions for running the data center should they completely lose power to the building. And these data centers and these platforms of Accesses have had millions of pounds worth of investment on that. So to give you an ability to visualize that, over the last kind of 12, 18 months, Access has invested well over £1.5 million into our cloud platforms, and is continuing to make that investment consistently. So one thing that is becoming very prevalent with organizations and what they're looking for is the security of the cloud, because obviously there's a lot of information around cybersecurity. So Access also takes security very serious. You know, we've got many different levels of security that are built within the platform. But to give you a bit of an understanding, the platform is fully accredited. So as I mentioned before, we're fully ISO 27001 accredited. That's not just Access as an organization, but that's also the data centers as well. We're fully GDPR compliant for where we need to be for the services that we provide. Within our ISO 27001, all of the principles that we cover mean that we are also compliant with things like Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus. And we also are an approved government G-Cloud provider. All access to the platform is fully encrypted. So all external access to the platform and to your application when you are on the managed application service is all restricted to HTTPS, which is the level of security that you use for things like internet banking, for example, or in some occasions, depending on the setup you've gone for and how you're using that, That could also be potentially done with an IPsec VPN, which uses 256-bit AES encryption. And to make that, put that into layman's terms for yourselves, what that is basically military grade encryption technology that we use on all of our connections into the data center and to your platform. We have multi-layer firewalls and antivirus. So we use multiple firewalls throughout the platform. So we have perimeter firewalls. We also then have individual server firewalls as well. And the antivirus is updated on an hourly basis. We provide full DDoS mitigation on the platform as standard. And as I briefly touched on earlier, we have a 24/7 server monitoring policy where all of the infrastructure and all of the servers are all managed and monitored on a 24/7 basis. Next thing to go into really is backup and disaster recovery. Access understand that your data is sacrosanct, and that is, extremely important to your organization. And we take the approach of becoming the custodians of your data. So all of the backups that we take are stored offsite and encrypted at rest. All data is retained for 7 years, for that being for financial data. So the way in which we do the backup process, we have 3 levels of the data backup that we provide. So we do, and this is all done as standard across all of our platform. We do daily backups, and those daily backups at the end of each day, when we do those daily backups are retained for 1 month. At the end of each week, we do a full weekly backup. Those weekly backups are retained for 3 months. Then at the end of each month, we provide a full monthly backup, and that is retained for 1 year for non-financial data and 7 years for financial data. On top of that, as standard, we back up the transaction log of the SQL database every 15 minutes. We have real-time replication of all of the machines using Zerto. So the use of this technology ensures that storage and virtual machines are resident in both data centers, giving a maximum flexibility in case of a disaster. And on the next slide, I'll give you a bit more of a visual representation of what that looks like for yourselves. And also we have a guaranteed return point objective, return time objective, and service level agreement on all of our services. If we fail to achieve our service level targets, we will issue you service credits against future periods of service. That's how confident we are that we won't breach those. And in the time that I've worked with the Alto division, I know that we have never breached any of our SLAs. So going back to the disaster recovery element, what this image does here gives you an understanding of what we mean when we say real-time replication. So on the left-hand side of the screen, for example, that is our primary data center, or an example of what our primary data center may look like. Using the Zerto technology and some other technology we have within the platform, what happens is everything that we have in our primary data center is replicated over at an almost instantaneous basis to our secondary site. Again, those data centers are still both within the UK, but they are geographically split away from each other so that we have this as a disaster recovery policy. So everything that we have in our primary data center is replicated over to our secondary site. So this image just gives you a bit of an understanding of what we have in one place is always in the second place as well. So I'm quite sure you've got understood that and you're starting to think how this would benefit yourselves, and that's really what you're kind of wanting to gain out of this. Is actually, that's great information that we've received, but how would this actually benefit me and my organization if we was to use this type of service? So going on to that, some of the overriding benefits of hosting with us that we've gained from organizations that have moved to this is, first of all, that it's highly secure and reliable. So our hosted platform is fully enterprise grade. It's split across 2 of the UK's premium data centers, which are all covered by our ISO 27001 accreditation, which helps you to reduce cybersecurity and GDPR risks. Furthermore, on that platform, You gain increased resiliency and redundancy. So the managed application hosting solution is fully managed 24 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And that covers both the infrastructure and the application. This is, as I've said, this is all built on enterprise grade IT infrastructure, the level of which, if you was trying to replicate this locally, would cost several thousands of pounds to try and deploy this yourselves. You're mitigating risk. So you'd be using a successful, tried and tested business partner for whom you've had a long-standing relationship with. You would gain improved cost efficiency and predictability. So you'd be getting a highly available solution and fully resilient platform with predictable annual fees, all based in the cloud. So what this does, it eliminates often unmanageable and unforeseen costs for things like Microsoft SQL licensing costs or upgrading of servers and managing those servers. You would have a single supplier relationship. So you will be partnering with Access. So all of your calls of support will be handled and managed by us, negating any supplier ownership issues. So if there is anything that you have an issue with, you make a call, that is all managed and looked after by Access. We know that's our issue. We will fix that. The correct team will make do the work that needs to be done, and they will be in contact with yourselves to when the tickets are ready to be closed and how those will be closed. You get increased support and maintenance. So Access are the experts in building, maintaining and hosting the Access application suite. Improved performance. So our managed application hosting solution platform is optimized for the Access applications. So as I mentioned, we found that all of our clients experienced up to 30% improvement and increase in performance of their applications when moved to our cloud platform. Additionally, proactive monitoring ensures that the platform always has sufficient resource to meet demand. This means that you will not experience a reduction in performance as your Access application use expands and as you use the software more and more. And finally, you get anywhere, anytime access. So you can easily connect to your Access software from anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection, which helps support a diverse and increasingly mobile workforce.